Homie, I got to be honest, dog. How are we celebrating when we're killing? I don't understand how black on black crime in this country is at an all-time rate, and we're continuing to try to talk about why this, why that. I don't understand why this is happening, and it's kind of sickening at this point. And I'm pretty sure you're sick of it too as a black man. But is there something I'm missing? Why do you think it is? What is going on? I know it's been this way for a long, long time since I was a little kid. Bloods, Crips, black on black crime. We see it all the time. I don't know if you saw over the weekend, a younger dude pulls a .45 Magnum to an old black lady's head at the ATM machine, puts it right to her dome, robs her. And then I see a whole comment section of a lot of brothers that I knew were like, what part of the game is this, dog? Remember kids, ladies, elderly used to be off limits when it came to this gang banging, this street life. Even athletes had a pass. Athletes used to get a pass. Old ladies, old men, babies. These cats, dog, it's interesting, Smitty. I saw the comments. They're like, JB, these young cats are some weirdo, different ass cats, and we don't want nothing to do with them. Our own people, we don't want nothing to do with them. It ain't us. And I'm like, interesting. He's like, JB, it's something in the air, dog. I don't know what, but there's no way in the world. And you know us, JB, and these are gangsters, Big Smitty. These are straight killers, and they would never, ever rob an old lady at a fucking ATM machine. And these cats, I would bet dollars to dimes, are much harder and more gangster than this motherfucker that pulled a gun on the old 75-year-old black lady. So what the fuck's going on, Big Smitty? I need to hear from you.
Nah, for sure, man. I'm glad you brought this topic up. Like you said, we are the realest show on the internet, so we got to talk about stuff like this. And man, it's so many parts that I can dive into, man. So just at face value and just answer your question, am I tired of this shit? Hell yeah, 100%. It's been going on for way too long. Like you said, even when you were growing up, but it seems that it has gotten worse now. You know, at least back in the days when people were in the streets and gang banging, there were certain rules that people would follow by, and there was somewhat of a purpose behind what they were doing. Regardless of if you think it was right or wrong, at least there was some. It made a little bit more sense. You know, they're trying to make some money to help their family out, to help the neighborhood out, to elevate, to move on. Where nowadays, these young people, these young cats, they're doing it because they're treating real life like it's a video game. They're treating real life like they're playing Call of Duty. Like they literally will go out here, kill people, and go on Twitter and joke about it. And I'm speaking specifically about Chicago and the Chicago area because that's where this shooting happened at. And I literally just watched a documentary, about half of it, on former rapper King Von, who passed away. And it was so interesting just really learning about how these young folks are. Like they're killing not to make money, not to try to defend themselves or protect themselves. No, they're killing because again, they're looking at it as a way to build up their own clout. They're looking at it as a way to, it's like, I got more kills than you, so I'm more realer than you. Or I got more respect now in the hood because I killed 9 people, you only killed 7 people. And they're laughing about it and going on social media, and they'll speak in code, but if you know the street lingo, they're literally telling on themselves and admitting what they're doing. So it's at a point now, man, JB, where I'm someone who's always a solution-based person. I try to think through what's the answer, what's the solution, how can we fix it? But I don't know. I'm at a point now where I literally don't know because these kids they don't care. They have no guidance. They don't care. They have no true reasoning behind what they're doing other than trying to have some clout in their neighborhood. For so long, JB, and you know, because you grew up with us too, and you grew up in impoverished areas. Unfortunately, Black people have been growing up poor and in hoods for a long, long time. And we can go dive deep into why. You know, we have to take some of the blame for sure, but there's also some blame. We go back to Jim Crow and redlining, and there's a lot of different things that go into the why and how it happened. But nevertheless, oftentimes a lot of Black people grow up in the hoods. And what happened is when you don't have much, your back's against the wall, especially as a man, you have to figure shit out, whether it's right or wrong, whether it's legal or illegal. And all the time, this is what leads to black men choosing the street life because it's that fast money. They're tired of seeing their mom, lights go off and in the house crying and struggling. So they end up going to the street life to try to find a way. And again, back in the days, they did it because they had a purpose. And the hope was that eventually I'll get out, I'll use this money to flip it and do something positive and successful. But like now, it's at a point now where there's no direction. There's no ending. It's like, this is the purpose of these kids. They're okay with living this lifestyle forever. They're okay with going to jail. They're okay with possibly dying. They're taking these drugs, taking these Percocets to make sure they're high as hell to where they're numb to the killing, they're numb to the shooting. And it's at a point now where it's like, I literally, I'm almost speechless at this point, JB. Like literally, I don't know what the answer is, and it's a bad spot to be in because if you don't have an answer, the problem will keep persisting, will keep moving forward, and it'll keep happening. And I don't know, man. It pisses me off. It's sad to say, and the fact that today we should be just celebrating 1,000%. It's Juneteenth, the day our people were officially freed, and people are having. I read the story. It looks like for majority of the day, the party was good. It was like a block party. Actually, the local police actually came by earlier, and they were cool, eating, playing cards. But all it takes is one or two people, two bad apples in the entire thing to shut the whole shit down and turn a positive to a negative. And that's what happened. And yeah, I don't know, JB. It's crazy.
Here's the issue, man. I know you're stumped because it's like you're looking at it like, why? I don't get it. Like you're lost. Here's the deal though, like growing up in Compton, being around nothing but killers, dope dealers, and athletes. Basically, that's all I grew up with. I mean, the biggest dope dealer in the United States history is my mentor. The issue I have is, dog, I've been around the most gang-banged out folks this country's ever seen, and they respected life, even though they may have took some. That might sound like an oxymoron, but when they took a life, it was out of some reasoning or another. It wasn't out of just on GP. It wasn't out of just coming up to you on GP and smoking someone for clout or for a video or to say I got this teardrop on my eye. Nah, it was over something. And I don't understand it, man. I don't get it. I've talked to a lot of folks over the last few weeks about this because people don't realize yesterday we had California had shootings as well. So did St. Louis. So did Houston. So did I haven't heard it at all. It's kind of more. It's louder when there is no shootings. Like, to be honest, you hear about more in the media when there's no shootings than you do when there are. And it's happening at all-time rate. And I just don't understand. Let me ask you this perspective, though. I got to ask you this just to keep it real so everyone knows we don't hold punches here on this show. Right. I'm going to say something that's going to sound, it could be naive, it could sound ignorant, it could be whatever. But I want to know, there's more to what I think your answer will be. Why don't we see white kids shooting white kids? I want to know, is it because they don't show it? Like I hear the conspiracy, they don't see it. They don't show it on social media codes. You don't see it. You only show the black folks killing each other. Is it that? Is it the media? Is it the push? Is it the persona? Is it they are shooting each other? Because let me get something straight. You see some. We're seeing some robberies and shit, but it seems to be when it happens, it's black on black that they show, right? That they show the most of. Why is that in your opinion?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, first of all, I do think white people do shoot white people. I think whatever your proximity is, whoever you're around, the
shootings are white.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I think I've seen Jada to put that point out. Yeah, when you see the school shootings, all that, most time 9 times out of 10, it's a white person doing that shooting. So that's first of all. But I believe whatever your proximity is, that's who's getting killed. The reason you see black on black crime is we're all just around each other. When you're growing up in these small neighborhoods and these pockets, and everybody's just poor, everybody's out here. It's the crabs in a barrel, crabs in a bucket. Just trying to claw their way out, and they'll do whatever they got to do to make it out. What happens with that is stress, it's anger, it's frustration. You got people on drugs, high out their mind and not thinking likely, and then shootings happen. So you're going to see black against black because that's who you're around. But there's also white against white crime as well. But again, I just think the media, they don't put it out as much unless it's like some mass shooting and like some real big deal where they have no choice but to put it out there. I just think, and being real too, though, let's be honest. Black people, or you look at the stats, look at the numbers, we're more likely to be poor and be in impoverished situations than white people. That just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's a direct correlation to poverty and street lives and killings. I think that's all connected. You don't see wealthy, rich, affluent black folks or even middle-class black folks out here shooting each other. Because why? Like life is pretty good. They're taking care of business. They got something to lose for, and it's a different mindset. But when you're in them streets and you ain't got shit, you don't have anything to lose. You don't have anything to lose in your mind. Like you said, JB, these young generation, they don't really care about their own life. For whatever reason, life isn't valuable to them. Like I was watching this documentary, and I'm telling you, if y'all ain't seen it, it's on YouTube about King Von. These guys were like almost joking about death and about themselves dying. They're treating it like it's a video game. They're playing Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, and it doesn't bother them. And another thing too, I want to dive in like around this as well is, I think for so long, black folks, since we've lived life without for a large part of our lives, we haven't owned anything, haven't owned a house, haven't owned a car, haven't owned anything. Black people tend to want to have control and ownership over something. So they tie their identity to their neighborhoods, their streets, their block, their gang. Every city, every state has a different thing, whether it's gang banging out in Cali, whether it's the block you're from in Chicago, the group, whatever it is, it's the same mindset. You're looking for that family. You're looking for that level of importance, and being a part of a block, being a part of a gang, being a part of a group makes you feel like, okay, I'm cool. Like I have a reason, I have a purpose now. And they'll go all out and do whatever for that street, for that block, for that gang. When in reality, they don't own we don't own that block. We don't own that gang. We don't own that. It makes no sense. It's stupid, but mentally, when you don't have anything, it's like I have to attach myself to something. I have to have a piece of something to make myself feel valuable. And unfortunately, time and time again in these neighborhoods, they're attaching themselves to this. I don't get it. I'm from the hood. I could have went to street life. I did not. But I also will say this. I was blessed with people who'd help guide me the right way. I had a 2-parent household for at least about 11 years of my life. That helped out tremendously. And sports helped me out tremendously, kept me busy. If I wasn't playing basketball growing up, if I didn't start playing football growing up, I have no idea what direction I would have been in. My life would have been different. So when you think about somebody who grew up in my same exact situation, who's not Einstein, so he's not about to get an academic scholarship, he's not hooping, he's not playing football, you know what I'm saying? So he's not getting out through sports. You kind of get in that weird position where you got to make a choice. And temptation is a motherfucker, man, when you in them situations. So
let me ask you this. You know, one of your former colleagues, guy kind of people look at as very controversial amongst the black folks. Jason Whitlock is always out there talking about this subject a lot. What do you have to say when cats like that, or folks that I talk to all the time, black folks indeed actually from the hood, from Compton, I know a buddy of mine who goes around speaking, former gangbanger, former dope dealer, and he goes around speaking all the time. We must stop the victim mentality or it'll never stop. Like, when does it stop? We understand how depressed and how, you know, suppressed the black folks were, slavery and et cetera, et cetera. His point is, he dives into history, like Native Americans had it rough. There was actually white slaves. People don't want to talk about. We're not going to compare that right now and get into all this. But what he's saying is, if we don't move on and fucking advance and stop thinking about what it was, and the if was a fifth, we'd all be loaded. When are we going to move on and start saying us now? Like, what's up with us now? Like, he made an interesting point. FUBU, right? The gear came out years ago in the 90s when I was, it was like the cool thing to wear, and everybody wore it. For us, by us. Isn't that what it stands for?
Yep.
He made a point the other day. He's like, FUBU, I see you wearing the shirt. And the cat was like, yeah. He's like, what does it mean? And the cat didn't know. The cat wearing it did not know. And he's like, that's the problem. You guys are ignorant. And guess what for us, by us stands for now? Us killing us. We're actually killing each other. For us, by us is we're fucking out here killing each other. Like, do you realize what the fuck you're wearing? And it's like, I was like, damn, I was the only white motherfucker in the whole place. And I'm like, and he's talking to all brothers and sisters, and he's like, stop with the victim mentality or we're going to be stuck in it forever. He goes, to be honest with you, he goes, I could see if white folks were out here just looking us up and trying to pick us off and trying to like fucking, he's like, no, I'm more scared of brothers and sisters killing me now than I've ever been in my entire life. So this is a straight up well-known gangster in LA. And he's like, I am more likely to get killed by my own than it is one of these white boys. So yeah, I want to be clear. That's what he's like. What do you have to say would stop the victim mentality that we see so many young brothers and sisters still use? And when is that going to stop so we can advance? Because sometimes there is a generational curse that is passed down from grandpa, uncle, pops. Hey, man, fuck them motherfuckers. Like, whatever it may be, right? We've all been around ignorance, and they comes in all shapes, sizes, and colors. When do we just say, all right, dog, son, listen, we have had a fucked up past. We have been this. We have had this. But right now we have an opportunity, just like everybody else. Let's not fucking fuck it up. Let's move on and advance. Like, is that even a thought right now? Like, when you sitting around talking to family, friends, whatever, is that a process of thought at all or not?
Yeah, no. So first of all, I actually agree with the victimhood mentality. That's one area that, like, yeah, I agree 100%. I think if you focus 100% on what we went through and that's all you focus on, then there's no way to move forward. I got a clothing brand literally called Live for Today, because you got to focus on the now. I can't worry about what happened in the past and keep harping on that. So I agree with that 100%. But I do think there is a balance, though, of still acknowledging and understanding what happened and the why, to some degree, of why situations are the way they are now, and still being able to move forward. So for me, I have a good balance of, like, I still want to educate myself and understand how these things have happened and maybe why some of these things are happening, but not using that as an excuse for my life to why I can't move forward. So for me, it is a mentality thing. It is you have to have the right people in your circle, or maybe you just got to be blessed with just the right mindset. I'll speak on me personally. I grew up since I was a little kid. Like, again, grew up very poor, grew up around all the street stuff that you can name. But for whatever reason, maybe I'm just blessed. I don't know. For whatever reason, in my mind, I always had the belief that I would do something or be something special. Since a little kid, I never lost that dream or just that feeling you have as kids when you feel like, you're going to be a superhero, you're going to be a pro athlete, whatever that is. I've always maintained that. And, maybe it's just this crazy belief in myself or whatever the case may be, but that's something that has helped me push forward. But again, unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that belief. A lot of people, they look around, they're left and the right, they look at their entire family, and no one has done anything that's of value. And it's like, when you're a young person and you're looking around and you ain't seeing nothing of value, sometimes it can be tough for somebody to be like, shit, well, what am I going to be? What am I going to do? But it comes down to mindset. I agree. Like, at the end of the day, we play sports, we play football, you're a coach, I'm a player. One of the things that my strength coach would always say is nobody gives a fuck. And I take that as one of the best things I ever heard, because At the end of the day, in life, nobody cares where you started, why you started, if your parents was on drugs, if your grandma did this, if your daddy used to beat you. They don't care about none of the reasons why. It's about what's the outcome, what did you do with that? So as tough as it is, as maybe insensitive as it might sound, that's life. And the only way to me get out of the victimhood mentality, so to speak, is to shift your mindset, which, again, I mean, you got to have the right people around you. You got to have the right leaders, the right people coming to speak to you. You got to have the, like, as a kid, if all you're around is negativity all day, and you don't have nobody in your circle to, like, shift your mindset out of it, a kid is like a sponge. You're going to soak in whatever information that's around you. And if you're around just bullshit all day, it's just hard to believe in anything else. It happens, but it's just tough. For me, I learned a lot when I went to college, and I looked around. I'm like, oh shit, like there's more to life than just the far east side of Indianapolis. There's more to life than just food stamps and getting evicted. Like, I'm seeing people with money and you know, nice cars at 18 years old, and people got money in their savings. I'm learning about index funds and investing, and these are my teammates, my friends now, and I'm learning from them. And we're traveling from, you know, private plane, private jet. So for me, it was like getting away from my situation that really opened up my mind. And I'm like, wow, I've been missing out, and I've been looking at this thing called life completely different. But the thing is, I had to get the opportunity to separate from my situation. Everybody don't have that. So it's not about making excuses. Some things are just facts. If you're in your situation, I know good ass kids, you probably do too, JB, who did not choose the street life. They went to school, got decent grades, but maybe they weren't great at a sport. Again, maybe they didn't get straight A's, but they did what they were supposed to do for the most part. But they're living in a fucked up situation because it's like, my foundation was so messed up and so jacked up that they're ignorant. They don't have the knowledge to get out. I got blessed. I'm telling you, like, Whitlock hooked me up with the Fox. If Whitlock don't give me an opportunity with Fox, I don't know where. I'm not in the hood, obviously, but I'm saying my life ain't the way it is right now. If I didn't get a full ride scholarship to Ball State, I had one full ride scholarship, JB. I'm one full ride away from maybe not going to college because I had no money put up. So I'm saying certain situations have to happen in your life to help get you out of your situation. And I would be ignorant to just say, just get out, just go. Like, it's not all. I know too many people in the hood right now that it's not that easy to just get out, just go and just do that. So I don't know. I don't have an answer.
For me, it's a tough one for me because, you know, I'm always going to err on the side of the tough rah asshole guy and all that. Here's the deal with me. I'm from that situation. I've been in that deal. I was in a car living at 15 years old. If I would sit here to this day and blame everyone else for where I grew up, I would be dead or in jail. Right. So my question is, and that's why I was so hard and preached so much to these kids, especially inner city youth. At some point, you have hair on your balls, dog. You hit a thing called maturity, and you hit a thing called puberty, and your brain was gifted to us by the gods, whatever God you may believe in out there. Somebody gifted us with a great thing called a brain, and it taught us by itself. We didn't have to get brain trained to know the difference between right and wrong, the difference in sitting around on your ass and going to go get it. And I hear what you're saying. You're talking about all these different things as far as we don't pick our situation, we don't get this and that. But if it was easy, everybody would have the winning lotto numbers. Like, I don't know if we think that way anymore. Like, I would be damned if I was going to sit around and sit there and say, man, I'm in Compton, I'm living in a car, I could get killed every day. I'm like, fuck this. I want to get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't believe we have the person or the people in our corner or our circle or our life. And I don't want to hear really, I hear the single father thing by so many people, and it's such a big narrative right now. I'm 50-50, man. Like, I'm to be honest, because I grew up with too many cats, too many hood cats without dads. that are fucking doctors, lawyers, cats that are very, very successful right now and say those are excuses too. Because
you're always going to have outliers though, JB. Like you always say, you're always going to have outliers. Just because a handful of people did it don't mean everybody can do it. Some people, every kid, some people need a father in their life. Some people don't. Everybody can move differently.
Of course. But I want to know, I just want to know, like I look at it as myself, and I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the biggest, baddest motherfucker to ever come off the planet. I'm trying to figure out why can't, if I could do it, I'm trying to figure out why a motherfucker can't drop their nuts and say, all right, I'm going to get out here and go get this thing. Get up and get out and get something, like fucking Outkast used to say. Like, I don't understand that mentality. Let me ask you real quick, JB. What we used to see.
What, like, when you look back, right, and I didn't even know that you spent time, you said you lived in a car, you were struggling. What was the thing or the person, the people, the community, whatever, what helped you? What helped get you from the point of like, I'm in this situation to that, like that first step, like whatever that was, whether it was your first coaching gig, whatever that first big jump was, I would assume you had to have somebody, something, your father, I know you had a great father, like something had to be there to help get you, because we can't, no matter how hard we say we are, we all need help. Can't nobody do this shit on your own. Nobody can do this by themselves. Although I was in the hood, and although my mom and dad, they went through their phases of maturity, one thing I will say, they always took care of me. We might have been in a fun situation. We might have got evicted. We might have been in the hood. We might have been using food. Whatever the case may be, Darnell never went without a meal. Darnell never just didn't have somewhere to lay my head down. So I have to give my credit to my parents.
You want me to be real? My mom and dad divorced when they were young. My mom was chasing she wanted to get money. She wanted to get away from a guy like my dad who would come home midnight every night, leave at 5 a.m. every day, diesel mechanic, drink all day, come home, fall asleep on the couch or on the floor. I never really saw him. So my mom got out of that. My dad could tell me different stories of why she left. But anyway, it is what it is. My mom's still alive. My dad's not. My mom remarried to or was fucking with an old rich dude, and then she got remarried later on. All right.
Got you.
I want to know this. If we're so like the pride in the hood, and I've seen it my whole life, and that's the attitude we're going to have. Why can't we have the one I had and homies that I grew up with when we all sat around and talked and bullshitted? It was about, I don't want to be like my mom and dad. I'm not going to be these motherfuckers. I'm getting the fuck out. Why don't you hear that anymore amongst the youth? And you don't have to be you don't have to be 7 years old. I understand 10-year-olds aren't sitting around thinking that, but pretty soon after you are, like 15 years old, I think it was when I was in the car, I was like, I ain't going to be my mom and dad. I'm not going to be my dad coming home at midnight, drinking all day, working, and then going out and laying on the couch or whatever, and not seeing his kid or whatever, right? I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to go out and get mine. And all my homies had the same shit. Now, guess what? Maybe it was cats going out to slang dope, but they weren't going to sit around on their ass and understand. We understand. We've even had these conversations in depth. Dog, are we attributing to killing blacks amongst blacks? Maybe. We're slanging dope to each other. Like we're killing each other in the hood, but like, He has a PhD. He's a former gangbanger. He brings up these points like, what was slavery's number one obstacle for individual slaves? What was it, Big Smitty? What was the individual slave's mindset? To get out, right?
Yeah.
Break free. He did not give a fuck about who he was chained up to, next to, who was in the barrack, who was in the other room. It was about getting out of there, and that was his sole mentality.
Right.
It's called a generational curse. I do believe it exists. What is the mindset right now of the individual black kid out here trying to get his or hers? They don't give a fuck about their neighbor, their family, their elder, the man, the mom, the dad. They are about themselves, and it has trickled down from the fucking days. Like, he makes the point like, dog, I see it every day when I talk to these kids. Like, they don't have a value for $1. They're looking for the big bag quick. They don't care about lives. They're killing old ladies and men. They're robbing everybody. They don't care. Black on black stores are getting robbed. Black-owned stores in Compton got robbed. And my boy's like been there for 40 years. Like, what? Whoa. You robbing who? And like, these are OGs. These kids don't give a fuck because social media has protected them. And I don't know, dog. I wasn't going to be that guy to sit there and sulk and hope somebody gave me something. And neither were my homies. But I continue to still see those excuses being made. And that is when it pisses me off. Like, we have brains, Smitty. We have individualism thinking we can actually perform. We're not fucking sitting here like deaf mute. We can go out and get it. There is possibilities. Like, are they deprived ones? Maybe. Are there certain cities and certain places that may frown down upon a brother, sister? Sure. I'm not ignorant. I've been around my whole life. But it is far less than it used to be, obviously, and there's much more chance out there for cats. But will we do it, or will we just continue to use the same crutch over and over? That's the thing. I wasn't going to do it. I'm going to go get it. And I still haven't got it yet. Like, I haven't really got it yet where I want it. And I don't know. That's just a different mentality.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, you know me, Jake. I'm the same way. Like I said, we've opened up and discussed this. Like I said, I'm real open with my situation. Like I had to live with my best friend for part of my childhood growing up because we got kicked out, had nowhere to go. Like I've been close to being homeless. Like I've been through all of that, but I never used that as an excuse. I busted my ass for everything I got. I busted my ass for that one scholarship. I busted my ass to come out here. I'm still busting my ass every single day to make the most out of this situation. So we make this shit clear to you in the chat. Like I'm of the same mindset. I guess my only thing is I'm somewhat emotional because I grew up around other people. I have family members and shit that's still in the situation. I just understand that everybody don't think like JB. Everybody don't think like Darnell for whatever reason. Everybody don't have the same exact mind to think that way. Even when I'm trying to talk to somebody and trying to find a way to make them think my way and try to put the positive energy, positive spin, their head's so fucked up from trauma that they just like, it goes in one ear and out the other. So, again, the victimhood mentality is not the answer, but I do think you still have to pay attention and have the knowledge of why we're in a situation. We would be ignorant to say that Black people and most white people are not starting at the same fucking line when it comes to this race called life. We can at least say that. But how you react to that information is on you as a Black man or a Black woman. It's like me. I know for a fact I don't have the same head start as most white men. But instead of just sitting around crying about it, I'm going to use that to my advantage to figure out, okay, how can I not only catch up, but surpass and break this family curse? I talk to my wife all the time and say, we have to break the generational curse. So it's funny that you even use that term and brought it up on here because I have these conversations with my wife. I believe her and I have similar family structures and situations. I believe that we are the people that can break our curse based upon our mentality. And like you said, not using that victimhood mentality. To me, it's just you have to train your mindset. You have to be so fucking, I don't even know the proper term, but it's like just that I guess so, I'll just use confident, but it's so confident and have so much, maybe quote unquote false belief at some point in your life that you can be more than a situation, that at some point that false belief becomes reality and you finally make it out. But again, there is a phase in your life where it almost seems unreal to believe that you can be on TV, you can go to college, you can get a degree, you can be a doctor, you can be whatever that thing is. There is a point in your life growing up, you know what I mean, where it's like, damn, like I know I'm smart, I know I want to be in the streets, but like, how can I get here? Like I don't have any, there is a point, and you have to get through that phase. You have to get through that phase, that mindset, in order to get to the next step. And it ain't easy. But again, we can't make excuses because if it was easy, everybody would do it. So that's why I just go back and say, I don't know what the solution is. You have to find a way to train and shift the mindsets of young Black men and Black women. How do you do that? I don't know. And that's where I'm at. And that's why it's so fucked up.